I spoke with her on that, Mary, and there has been a lot of elderly people that needed help, and we did come out as we go through. We can only just shut snow just. And I know we plow people in, but I'm sorry we have to do that just to make the path through. But if there is anyone that has a health problem, issues, or whatever, you know, we've done 4 of them that way. That we had to go through this time and help people out. People had doctor's appointments, people had heart attacks and stuff like that. So, I mean, we're here to help out as much as we can.
Do you still have the temporary for clearing the sidewalk?
Yes, we do. He's working, I think he's doing a great job from what I see. Joe probably can answer that question a little bit better than I have, and I know that he's been working with Joe also in the office too. So, yeah, I'm gonna hang on to him for a little while till at least, you know, till the snow stuff goes away. And it looks good on our part to make sure we have our cycles.
Adam, you have anything? Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
Police Department.
The only thing I need other than is to give you an update for our guys on his 5th week down at the academy, so that because he'll have 10 more to go. And we'll be testing again on February 20th.
Do you have any questions for Chief Cozy or to pass on to Lindsay for the period that is on? For reports in the air.
Yes, we appreciate everything that you do, business department, and also everything that Lindsay's doing. You know, Lindsay's out there every day. Just like you guys are. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And again, someone from the public was complimentary Chief Cozy of your efforts in checking on the homeless person on Route 33. He couldn't believe you wandered up to the window. Thank you for that. Hey, fire department.
I don't really have anything else to add. The new ambulance is all weather, hopefully by in the next week, it'll be in service. And you see the EMS report was pretty busy again this month, so.
Thank you.
We're working on collections, maybe a few pickups.
So for the number of calls that you can't handle, like you had 63.
That's for the whole year. Started now, so maybe just a little shot.
So do they contract with county agencies? Are those ones being
Somebody's a lot of them runs. That's the whole year. That's since we've been started. So when we first started, we had to turn down some of this staffing.
I know that's
So now we're doing pretty good. We only turned down 2.
good. That's great.
Well, some of that probably was really good one.
Well, this staffing is the biggest issue. We just didn't have staffing starting out right after that. We still have funds.
In which you firefighters.
I think they're hired, they're working.
Any other questions for Chief Settle?
Thank you.
Building code zoning.
I did my report several days ago, so there's a couple of things not in the last minute. The power pole project is still ongoing. I actually have a meeting on the 4th with Chantel on power. Downtown and then the power poles.
Oh, okay.
We've already got the services all relocated. The we've got services in for the Christmas lights, except for the one down by Charters and wait for them to cut those wires. we have a meeting on the fourth with Chantel and Power. The next steps. We're basically waiting on Long Power to get started upgrading their poles and transformers and stuff. We're waiting on that. And then also I'm gonna bring up, the lighting at the bridge, at the recycling center in on my second, because a different engineer had told me that stuff would all be done by early December, and we're spending there in February. So, don't be afraid. And then, the demolitions are all done for this grant. That brings us to a total of 72 structures that we brought down in basically 2 years, because we didn't get funding. So I'm just waiting on a bill from Waste Management, the January bill, because it's got the last of the dump fees on it. Once I get that, I can submit that to back to DEP for reimbursement on it. And I think we'll be real close to 273,000. I think we got some good deals and we'll max that program out. And I've been in contact, I think Joe was in on the meeting on it too, but we've been in contact with the West Virginia Land Stewardship Corporation. They're brainstorming, trying to come up with other ways to fund demolition statewide for them. Hopefully that pays off. That's it.
Thank you, Money.
That was mentioned in the municipal league fall too, how important that DLAP grant program has become and how they were doing their best to try to find additional funding.
They've introduced 2 or 3 different house bills. They're still in committee and that kind of stuff, so, yeah. I know Taylor Bennett is probably one of the ones that pushes that stuff the most, and she's been all over it. She doesn't know.
The meeting that you have on the fourth, is that the invitation on power company to meet with them that I asked to go to? Chrissy Michael.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, this is just a couple of engineers, we're gonna meet at the city building and go
Oh.
over there and on site, and so. We're looking at the stuff as we talk.
I mean.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, let's see.
Do you have anything else regarding?
No, thank you.
Thanks. And you have the city clerk's report in the packet, the business licenses, municipal fees collected.
All of the amounts for the B&O and for the business licenses, they are up. We've made time to send out those bills instead of just sending them out on the 1st of July. If they haven't paid in January, they got a bill again. And they have paid and are paying. And they're just coming in pretty well. And so we were collecting B&O off of some people, but not business licenses. And so Joyce and I actually, it's like, hey, we need to fix some of this stuff up and clean it up. And so that's what we did and sent out more goods. Any other we're starting to take the money for the banners for the hometown heroes. And Venice was supposed to start February 9th, but we've already collected several. So they're coming.
That's a good report, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Want anything else on there? I'll be happy to try to get.
Questions, Adam?
No. Right.
No, thank you.
In city manager's report.
This agenda. Communication director.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's.
Communication Director and Community Development Report.
What's in the packet? Do you have any questions?
You wanna go over that, so we've started on the on-track. That's exciting.
Yes, we are, I've met with On Track a couple of times and now it's just figuring out, the logistics on building the board. I wanna make sure, you know, if we need to create an ordinance for that. We're waiting to hear back from Sam. To find out whether we need to create the ordinance to create the board. And I've been, you know, putting bugs in a lot of people's ears that I know would really, be a good asset to the on-track.
I gave Joe two names. One was suggested by Jennifer Brennan, and then the other one had volunteered to serve on the board. I don't know if he shared that with you yet.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then are we gonna roll out the
The branding, yes, yes, I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to present it all because it's a beautiful package. With just some really phenomenal wayfinding signs that are gonna highlight a lot of the really amazing attractions that we have here in Hale, so I'm excited.
Thank you.
City Manager's Report.
I think it's gonna be a pretty quick meeting tonight. I'm sure you saw Debbie's email that she'd like us to table a few things, and I think those are fine, and I'll have a few comments on a few of those things. Couple of things I wanted to tell you first. One, Sam and I are probably looking at bringing you a FOIA ordinance at the next meeting. We have been receiving an increasing number of FOIA requests. I think we received two this past week. One was very extensive. It was just from a website that compiles public data. But it was a very deep and extensive request. It would take a lot of time to pull together. And the other one was just from a student, a grad student who's working on an equipment project together. But we've now had, I think, in the past, this fiscal year, more than a half a dozen FOIA requests in a short amount of time, which is a lot more than we used to get. And then today we received two requests related to the police department, FOIA requests related to the police department. None of them are particularly concerning. They're just an increasing number coming and happening. And we have the ability to charge for those things when there's a cost associated with putting them together, but we do have to have an ordinance in place for that. So maybe talking about that, he's worked on that kind of ordinance before, so he's gonna try to have that ready before the next meeting. We received communication from the Department of Highways this past month. I think it's one that we know was coming for a long time. They have officially suggested that we close the 4th Street Bridge, so it's the Yard Bridge connecting Water Street to North River. I think as the conversation has gone, when they started planning the construction of the new bridge, they said that eventually after that new bridge was constructed, they were going to recommend the closure of the 4th Street Bridge. I think the city at that time said, maybe we'll keep it open as a footbridge. Now that they have that new bridge open, they have officially made the recommendation to close the old bridge. Even in that recommendation, there is no dire or imminent threat related to 4th Street Bridge. And in my conversation with Department of Highways, they basically said that it is, they have an inventory of bridges that they inspect, and they're just trying to get some of the older bridges off of that inventory. That's what this recommendation really relates back to. So tonight, I don't have any actionable item on the agenda for you, because I'm not really asking to close that bridge or act in any way. I think that we should probably do a little bit more before we do act, because some of the things that have, a little bit of background, the DOH, built the new bridge, but there were no traffic pattern studies done related to what those in the old bridge would do. And they've indicated that if we want to understand how this would impact our traffic, then we need to have a study done ourselves, that we do the study for us, we're not gonna have it done, we do it ourselves. And then the other thing I would just add is, talking to bridge inspectors and former bridge inspectors. None of them think that this is a dire need. And I think this is something that the city could, take time to really consider what its options are, and best option for it might be. So at this time, I'm not bringing any recommendation to you, but if you feel really strongly that we should have a recommendation related out. I can put them for you soon.
How much for the A traffic study?
I don't have any idea, I can find out.
I know sometimes it. We can't even know like something because. We have, no idea.
Yeah.
It could be 5,000, 25,000.
Yeah, and this is just a guess, this is, I'm not even. Shoot from the hip. My guess is somewhere between 10 and 5. Just based on, because I do have a list of firms that do traffic studies in West Virginia. And they're just the professional services of those firms cost. But that's, so I think they do pretty expensive.
You might want to.
I'd like to see an independent study of the infrastructure itself, just to see the longevity before we go off in that direction.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea, yes.
You go under that bridge, you can see through the steel.
I think someone qualified to give us an idea of the lifespan.
When we have a 5-year old, as of last time we done. To be inspected every 5 days. Not what we need to report to that day.
No, so this inspection, this bridge is now on, I think, a 48-month inspection cycle. So the shorter so every bridge is on either anywhere between a 6-month to a 5-year inspection cycle. This bridge is now in a 48-month inspection cycle, so it's, I'm sorry, I think 24, I think it's on a 24-month inspection cycle. So that is, if it were on a 6-month inspection cycle, that would be your sign that it's really dangerous. If it were on the 5-year inspection cycle, that would be your sign that there's really no failure. So it's, far, I think it's on a 2-year cycle right now, so it's kind of like over. And that cycle, that last inspection was just completed in October. And that's the report that we just received. Within the past 10 days. Saying and the condition has not gotten worse since the last time we inspected it. It has the same conditional rating since the last time we inspected it. The only thing that's changed from the last time we inspected it is there's now a reasonable bypass. And because there's a reasonable bypass, they changed their recommendation to close.
We just don't want the council to become reactive.
Right.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're interested in hearing prices on in the third part of the inspection.
Yes.
And maybe eventually we got so. You bet. Just a few, well. I want to give a quick update. I'm going to give a more in-depth update on this later board thing. But we do have our license plate reader camera is finally operational and reading license plates and doing what it's supposed to be doing. And you'll remember that we recently ordered a second, we recently ordered a second license plate reader with Polaroid sound line. That one is not hung yet. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how one of the new business items might take that in a few minutes. Other than that, just 2 personnel things I want you to know. I'm anticipating tonight that you'll appoint a finance manager. I'm anticipating that that's going to leave vacancy. In position of our administrative assistant. I intend to fill that as quickly as I can. Because having a finance manager doesn't help as much as it should if we didn't for them still short another person. So we would still be short another person if it didn't affect that. The other thing I want to let you know is I am still looking, and I mentioned this the last session, and it's still true, which is that I'm still looking to add one more full-time labor into the public works department. I'm just working on the numbers to make sure we can make it work before I move forward. I think that's all I have for you on the Chevy.
Did I read something like that? It was up to the light that was full of the cities there tonight.
Half of that's true. The poll is up, the service has been turned on. We think we have everything set up for the cameras. What are the cameras have? I'm saying, because the camera is not up there yet.
Yes, because I had a weatherproof box with the hell of equipment. It's an ask to do that.
Yeah,
He said, oh, then I'll do it.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's just ordered a, he's ordered a box to put up there if we want. Anything else?
When is it anticipated, Joe, that camera will be up and functioning?
Yeah, so when he ordered the box, what was that? Was that in the past? Couple weeks? Yeah, a couple weeks ago. He said it would take 2 to 3 weeks for the box to come in. Because it's a specialty item. And then, and this is where I don't have any, so he said, so as soon as the weather's decent enough, I'll get up there and hang it. So. I think as long as
This
it's not-
morning, I don't think it's
Yeah.
happening.
He's been pretty decent about coming out, and actually, all of the work around the license plate reader camera and putting this camera around all happened when it was about 5 degrees outside.
Wow.
But it wasn't really us. So I think as long as it's not handling that, so I would anticipate before the dates.
Any other questions for Joe?
Other questions?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve all of the department reports.
I'll motion to approve the department reports.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, under old business, discussion and consideration of possible action regarding vacancy on City Council Ward 2. And I think, if I'm not speaking out of turn, this is one of those that Councilwoman Gump would like table
Yeah, Councilwoman Gump has requested that the council table extension.
until she can be in attendance.
I'll motion to table a discussion and consideration of filling the vacancy for City Council Ward 2 until Councilwoman Gump returns.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, under new business, consideration of payment to Mountain State Law in the amount of $7,210.
That invoice starts on page 67 of your packet. That's just the invoice for the legal services provided by San Harold for the last couple of months. It's all lines out there. Say he does a great job, let's pay him.
Today's his birthday.
Today is his birthday, that's right, that's why he's not here. So be sure to everybody bob our kind of text messages.
Yes. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, consideration of appointment of finance manager.
Continuation of a previous discussion we had, I'm recommending that the council appoint Joyce Rouse, who's with us in attendance tonight, as City of Weston Finance Manager.
I'll move to appoint Joyce Sprouse as city finance manager.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved in second to appoint Joyce Sprouse as the finance manager for the City of Weston. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Joyce.
Do we have those?
We don't need to do it tonight.
Okay.
You do it at the office, but if you'd like to have a photo op, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great if we could take a minute for a photo opportunity. You have anything you'd like to say, Joyce?
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with everyone, and attending the meetings and learning the most that I can about, deep diving into the city of Weston and making sure that we all work as a team. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Just don't take her calls. She's gonna want more money for your application.
Okay.
I will say that this is about the most exciting thing that's happened in the last 6 months. And my wife is pregnant, so.
Yes.
Do you wanna come up front? We'll do a.
Thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations, Joyce.
Thank you.
Next is discussion of downtown Wi-Fi initiative.
This is another one of the items that Councilwoman Gomes asked that we table. I did talk to her earlier about it. It is not a point of consideration, it's only a point of discussion, so I'm gonna ask that we have a little bit of discussion. And I will share some of what her thoughts were too. And then we can always revisit this discussion at a later date, she's gonna be doing this as well. This conversation starts with the camera project, because of the camera project, we have Wi-Fi infrastructure built out through town. Recently, Lewis County First has approached us about being able to help them get Wi-Fi down at the Little Brick Building. And then additionally, as we've talked about the need for more cameras on the main and second intersection. I've talked to the Glass Museum about placing a camera on the old United Bank building. They're open to placing a camera on the old United Bank building. But they do not have internet in the old United Bank building. So this is the case where we would need to put internet over there and need a camera. So that means that we're gonna put a tiny little, we would have to put a tiny little satellite on the roof of their building and then a router inside the building. Bringing that internet down to the camera. They're open to all of that, because they don't have internet in the building. But they've also said, hey, since you're gonna put internet in the building, if we don't have internet in the building, can we have internet in our building? And will you give it to us? And so then this brings up a discussion of, I think, two distinct things that we're discussing and different ways that we might approach them. One is city Wi-Fi in public spaces, so places like Holt Park or Lively Park. And then two, city Wi-Fi being able to be made available to maybe our nonprofits in the downtown area or the community-based organizations. And this is where, so I'll share, and we have a couple of different mechanisms for doing that. If we wanted to just run a trial or run a beta test of this sort of thing, we could do that for a year for less than $150. If we wanted to build out a little bit stronger infrastructure for it, that would cost a little bit more money, but not radically a lot. When I talked to Councilwoman Gump about this earlier, she expressed that she was pretty open to the idea of sharing Wi-Fi with nonprofit entities downtown. With the understanding that we're giving them access for use by them, but not by public use for everyone. She shared some concerns about the idea of having public Wi-Fi in public spaces. Notably, she said there were a lot of places where Wi-Fi became available during COVID. And she felt that the resulting use of that Wi-Fi made those spaces less family friendly. Because he was coming out of them, and so she's concerned that if we put public Wi-Fi in our parks for free, that folks who would hang out at parks would then attract families from. So those are her concerns. I would really like to be able to run a test, a pilot of the program, even if it's just a few months long. I said we were going to try it, see where it goes. But those were some of her concerns, and so now let's let the council discussions go.
Thoughts? I think it's a great idea for the nonprofits, I really do, and I never really thought about, during COVID, a lot of spots were opened up. I can know, we never really had any problem then, that's. Maybe families doing behavior. So I think that maybe a pilot program for a couple of months and doing a reasonable solution and. To. We could just, wait and see, I think it's wonderful that we could talk about human pockets.
If I put Weston PD put Wi-Fi in the city, or when you pull code in Vice Jackson. There's actually not a lot of power, I think as long as it's not a city, but it's still active, it still shows service.
Yeah, and that's, the infrastructure is all there, and that was my point about it.
Paying for it, still active.
Yeah, it's all of that infrastructure is running off of, so we have a dedicated fiber line with the municipal building. So when you go through your check detail report, you'll notice that we get a lot of money to Chantel every month. That's because we have a dedicated fiber line. For context, we could almost run internet for the whole city in this one dedicated with the infrastructure that we have. And then, so part of that is infrastructure that Chief Thomas is instrumental in the whole community. I think he particularly wanted the cruisers to just always be connected for bus running. And I think the cruisers may still have connectivity to that system.
We use AT&T boxes.
Okay. But all of that infrastructure is basically already there.
So we could also, basically, it's everywhere businesses too.
Well, and so this gets into where Sam and I are trying to carefully develop an idea and an ordinance to start something, which is Chapter 8 of state code regulates what cities can and cannot do. And it doesn't say anything about internet service. And because we are what's called a Gillens rule state, when state code is silent about letting the municipality do something, that usually means the municipality cannot do it. That's not always the case. So we come up against the question, can the city offer municipal Wi-Fi service? And that's not really been well answered anywhere else in the state. But one thing is for sure, and that's that if you're going to ever charge for that kind of service, you want that to be a municipal utility that you're charging for. You need to be able to offer it equally to all patrons within the city. And I think in this context, that probably means that we need to be able to make sure that every parcel that is within the corporate limit has access to that. Right now, we don't have that. It's pretty well built out, but we have some hills and downs in the city limits that aren't hit by it. Oak Creek Park is my best example of it. We're still struggling to get internet there. If we got internet there, we got a camera there. So as for offering it to businesses and everybody else, I think that starts to go down the road of a municipal utility. And there's a few considerations I think we need to consider, and there's a few bridges we need to cross before we can offer it as a municipal utility. But it's not off the table. I mean, a lot of the infrastructure is already there. Where if that's a path we want to go down, so you could, if there is no liability created when you do something for free. So we can certainly offer it for free where we are.
There's a lot of resistance from the shed table for frontiers of the world.
They cannot.
It's just something that we're discussing at this time.
Yeah.
Do we have anything?
No, I think a trial run, could be a good idea, but I think, we should wait till Councilwoman Gunn's discuss it further.
You want to go ahead and table the discussion for further?
Under the table.
Well, we actually don't need to, it's just a discussion. If there's no vote.
Right.
Okay, next appointment of member to land use agency.
Yeah, the LRA ordinance is a little bit weird in the way that's worded. I think that you have a vacancy on the LRA and I think you need to appoint to it. And I think the ordinance says that you have to appoint the councilman from Ward 4. So you don't really have a choice, but I think
Okay,
at this time you need to appoint Emerson's to the land use agency.
I move to appoint Adam Sims to the land use agency.
Can I second?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I second to appoint myself to the land reuse.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, consideration of property purchase.
Councilwoman Dunn also asked that you table this item. I'll just give you a little quick brief overview, and her and I discussed this as well. This is about a property purchase that we had discussed previously. And council had authorized sort of a maximum negotiation. We went back and forth a few times, and eventually the seller said they would accept that amount if we paid all of the closing costs for both sides. When I talked to Councilwoman Dunn about that, she felt like that was just a little bit too far, a little bit too much. And that we should sit on that offer and wait a while. So I don't think there's any particular harm in that. There's no urgency in this item, so I think it's fine. Thank you.
I'll motion to table that consideration until Councilwoman Jump returns.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, reports of city council.
Okay, as always, I want to thank the hard work of all of our employees and the team. It's really apparent that the work as a team. Because of all of the progress that we are making. Joyce, thank you so much for stepping up and accepting that position. I wish you the best and you enjoy that position. We're looking forward to working with you. And to our volunteers, thank you so much for coming tonight. And thank you for the hard work that you do year round.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate Joyce on being hired for the finance manager position. I'm sure you'll do well. I would like to thank all the volunteers for the cemetery. I appreciate all your hard work and effort. Thank you to all the city employees. Mike, thank you for you guys out there keeping the streets clear. Do appreciate that. And thanks for the patching you did on Brown Avenue. Those holes were getting pretty big, so it's much nicer to drive over than that.
Thank
That's all I have. So with that, I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you all very much.